Live from WPLG, Local 10 News starts right now.
This fight is not over. The kids are not all safe today. In many ways, although things are better than they were 20 years ago, we've still got a long way to go.
Right now at 6, emotional words from Don Ryce, father of Jimmy Ryce, who was abducted, raped, and murdered nearly 2 decades ago. Jimmy's killer will be put to death next month. And Don Ryce has waited years for justice to finally be served.
Let's get right to crime specialist John Turchin in our video report. John, this must have been such an emotional day with Don Ryce.
Such a mix of emotions, actually. But, you know, I talked to him quite a bit about his feelings and what he thinks, and he gets no pleasure from this, but he does say that this has been way overdue and coming, that nobody should be on death row as long as Chavez. We're talking about 13 years, 40 days. Regardless, he says that for his family, this is a good thing because they could finally close this chapter in their lives.
Your crime was so great, so evil, so heinous, that you have forfeited the right to live.
Powerful and emotional words for the man who took his son Jimmy's life. Don Ryce admittedly pleased that more than 18 years later, Juan Carlos Chavez will finally pay for what he did.
You don't feel happy. We aren't going to go out and celebrate when Chavez is executed, but there is a sense of relief.
It was September 11th, 1995. The 9-year-old boy was abducted as he got off his school bus by a stranger less than a half a mile from his parents' home in the Redland. Kidnapped at gunpoint by Chavez, a 28-year-old Cuban-born farmhand who took him to his trailer, raped him, tortured him, shot and killed him, and then dismembered him.
If there was ever anyone in the world who deserved to die, it's the man who did that.
Pat Diaz was a lead detective on the case, the man who got Chavez to confess. And he has never forgotten what it was like sitting across from this child killer.
This is pure evil. This is not just a child murder. This was a horrific crime done to an innocent child.
As for Don Ryce, 18 years later, he sadly concedes he looks at young boys and sees the son who never grew up. And the pain returns, as it does every year.
Those few hours that he had left, he went through such hell.
Don carries around so much guilt, he says. When asked if he is going to show up at the execution, as we discussed at 5 o'clock, unequivocally he said, yes, I owe it to Jimmy, Claudine, and Martha. Claudine was his wife, as you may recall. She passed away from a heart attack in 2009. His daughter, Martha, Jimmy's stepsister, she took her own life a little over a year ago. Jimmy, by the way, would have been 28 years old. That's going to do it from here. I'm John Turchin, Local 10 News.